Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We begin tonight with the search for an arsonist accused of trying to set a Portland restaurant on fire with people still inside. Alma McCarty spoke with the lead investigator as they try to find the culprit. Alma?
Well, David, this happened overnight at Kati, a southeast Portland restaurant and bar, open till around 2 in the morning. And at the time of the incident, around a dozen people were inside.
On Southeast 82nd,
it's no need for it.
Neighbors notice the damage.
It hurts them. They're struggling. Everyone's struggling out here, and it looks terrible.
An overnight arson scarring the side of Kati, a restaurant and bar.
It was isolated to one little area, thankfully one little area. They were able to quickly ensure that it was going to be extinguished and that the fire was completely going to be put out so that there wasn't any further risk to the building or to the people inside.
Senior fire and arson investigator Jason Anderson says initially crews weren't sure what caused the fire.
But they were getting sort of some whiffs of what they thought might be gasoline.
Between this building video and Portland Fire and Rescue's accelerant detection canine, investigators confirmed this blaze was no accident.
This actually ignited where it was initially poured, but did not continue along the rest of that trailer where it could have definitely endangered the lives of those inside.
The fire extinguished and the business back open. Officials have turned their focus to finding the culprit.
So at this point, we can't really tell other than it looks to be a male subject. We can see the container in their hands. It doesn't appear to be your typical gasoline container. It looks like possibly a makeshift container was used.
They're hoping the public can weigh in, be that providing a better description or handing over surveillance footage.
If I see anything go down or something like that, I'll say something.
Folks we spoke with in Southeast say they're eager to help to keep this spot open and operational.
The location puts it in this position, and it's unfortunate. We do what we can. This happens in the middle of the night in a lot of cases. 3 in the morning is when things are happening out here. It's a very different street at 3 in the morning, I assure you.
Now, this incident happened around 1:30 in the morning, so Portland Fire is asking businesses in the area within a couple of blocks of Kati to check their exterior cameras between 1 and 2 a.m. for anyone matching the description of the person in that video. David, back to you.
Thanks, Alma. Appreciate your reporting on that tonight. Developing this evening, the search continues for a Washington father accused of killing his 3 young daughters. Police are now asking anyone who sees 32-year-old Travis Decker to immediately call 911. The girls lived in Wenatchee in central Washington and disappeared on Friday after a planned visitation with their dad. On Monday, their bodies were found at a campground near Leavenworth. And tonight, the Wenatchee community held a vigil to grieve their losses. 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia. Jim Nelson was there.
Not the occasion that any of us would have wanted to be gathered tonight, but we're here.
This is the last place anyone wanted to be overcome with such sadness.
Obviously it's hard. I've been really proud of the girls. They've all been so supportive of each other and giving each other hugs.
To be remembering 3 young lives, children, grieving children.
Yes, I really miss her, and I just think it was too early.
They prayed that Peyton, Olivia, and Evelyn would come home safely. But when that flickering hope burnt out, reality set in.
Though we lack the words that bring the comfort, what we don't lack is the sense of community.
And now, this community grieves together. The type of grief that brings an old vet to his knees. The grief young children face for the first time in their lives.
She was really nice. She was a really good dancer. And I really think she was a really good friend.
8-year-old Lily was on the same dance team as Evelyn. Lily's mom, Misty, went to college with the girl's mother.
Those girls were her whole world. She did everything for them, and they were so involved in the community.
There's that word again, community. And as this community struggles to cope or come up with the right things to say, they vow, for now, to let their actions do the talking.
Remember what we talked about? We're gonna dance even harder.
For Evelyn.
For Evelyn. Yeah.
So many young lives impacted there. Jim Nelson reporting. Court documents show the girls' parents were in a custody battle with their mother, telling police her now ex-husband had been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder near the end of their marriage, though added he had never been violent before. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, Battleground police are investigating what they are calling a double homicide after 2 people were found dead and a third critically injured inside a home this morning. This was near Northeast 2nd and 242nd Street. While details remain limited, police say there are no outstanding suspects and there's no ongoing threat to the public. Today, a federal judge in Oregon demanded an explanation as to why an asylum seeker from Mexico was detained by ICE agents hours after leaving a Portland courtroom on Monday. Lawyers say ICE agents detained the woman, a Mexican national who is transgender, moments after she'd appeared for a hearing about her case. Her lawyers add that she was seeking asylum after men in a cartel sexually assaulted her and threatened to kill her because of her gender identity. The judge today ordered the woman to be brought back to Portland for another hearing. Last we heard, she was being held in an ICE detention facility in Tacoma. Staying in Washington, a construction worker is recovering tonight after a serious accident in Woodland. Crews say the man was inside a 50-foot trench this morning when a piece of heavy equipment fell on him. The worker suffered injuries to his back, pelvis, and leg and had to be life-flighted from the scene near Highway 503 and Insel Road. Vancouver-based company running the site, Rotsky Inc., has a history of safety issues and declined to comment on today's incident. And Oregon's iconic Crater Lake National Park has lost its leader. The park's superintendent, Kevin Heatley, resigned on Friday, citing federal cuts to staff that he says are unsustainable.
And I did not want to be empowering the current administration to cause that kind of impact on the people that I'm responsible for.
Heatley also said he, quote, did not want to participate in the dismantling of the National Park Service. Okay, let's take you outside on this Tuesday night. 60 degrees in the Rose City on another showstopper of a day. We'll talk about Fleet Week with the big ship sailing up the Willamette just a bit later in the newscast. But first to Matt Sfino with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Hey there, Matt.
Hey, David. Yeah, it was a beautiful day today for sure. Tomorrow, though, very different. It'll be cloudy in the morning, even some areas of drizzle or light mist falling in the morning hours. So be ready for that for the morning commute. But very pleasant weather to finish off the week. We're back in the 80s, back with lots of sunshine. The weekend, though, weather impact alert because we're going to reach 90 degrees for the first time this year on Saturday and probably do it again on Sunday. So 90s on the way. Our average first date for 90 degrees in Portland is June 17th. So we're going to do it about 10 days early, which if you think about averages, that's really not that far out of the envelope, right? But last year we had our first 90 degree day on the 10th of May. The average number of 90 degree days per year in Portland is 15. Now that's a 30-year average. Let me show you what we've done over the last few years, the last 5 years to be exact. Last year we had 28 90 degree days. 2023 we had 26. The year before that, 29. In 2021 we had 24. You get the idea here. And interestingly enough, in 2020, the year we had the massive fires in Oregon, we only had 15. So I mentioned the average, the 30-year average is 15, but over the last 10 years, we're averaging about 23 90-degree days. So it's definitely gone up in the last several years. Tomorrow, though, a cool day. We'll top out at 66. It'll be about 55 in the morning. And again, a little bit of morning drizzle, otherwise a mainly cloudy day. David?
Yeah, before it warms up again. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. With the weather set to warm up this weekend, you might be thinking about finding a place to cool off. And now some Portland leaders hope more people think of the city and the river as the perfect place to dive in. Libby Dowsett shows us how they're aiming for international recognition now as a swimmable city.
A new push to get people into the Willamette River.
I move the resolution and I urge the mayor to make the city a signatory to the Swimmable Cities Charter to be sent to the full council with a recommendation that it be adopted.
Members of Portland's Arts and Economy Committee passing a resolution to urge council support for Portland becoming the 9th city in the international Swimmable City movement.
This acknowledgement that our river has value to City Hall and just a recognition of where Portland belongs in this international movement is really a special thing.
Willie Levinson of the Human Access Project says the Willamette River has had its problems.
When we started our work nearly 15 years ago, it was taboo to swim in the Willamette River. Nobody swam.
When I was a kid, you didn't swim in the river. And if you did, you swam south of the Selwood Bridge at the very least. Now, our river is actually a beautiful, wonderful thing to be proud of.
Portland City Council member Jamie Demphy serves on the committee pushing for Portland to join the coalition.
Portland has a bad history of reinventing the wheel. This is about embracing what already works in other places and sharing our values publicly.
Levinson says the Willamette River is safe for swimming in all areas but 2 isolated spots marked on this lower Willamette recreation map. In 2011, the so-called Big Pipe Public Works project led to dramatic reductions in sewage overflows in the river. Swimmers began to wade back into the water.
I wouldn't swim after a really heavy rain, and they usually tell you when there is an overflow, so you don't go in. But that's in the winter and spring and fall when I'm not going to swim anyways.
When multiple generations have been taught to fear and shame the Willamette, it's really hard to revisit it. But there's no scientific disagreement that the Willamette is safe for swimming.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.